Good morning to you. It is 7 a.m., Wednesday, July 9th, 2025. Welcome to ONNJ Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, taking your calls at 888-658-0234. 888-658-0234. Areas of fog this morning, then mixed sun and clouds today. Could be a late day's shower, thunder boomer down in southern New Jersey, not so much in the north. Highs today around 90. We head to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the first check of the Garden State forecast. Not so bad, but very hot.
Very warm, yes, and just about as humid as yesterday, but not as
Mhm.
hot. There's no heat advisory today, Ken. So we're starting to trend in the right direction. Live radar at 7 a.m. showing clear sky, but that was not the case last evening as there were some pretty big thunderstorms rolling through southern New Jersey. Even central portions of the state had a tornado warning, and you can even see here the lightning in the hundreds as those storms moved on through. Play it one more time for you to show just how impressive those storms were. It really quieted down after 3, 4 in the morning as all of that weather was offshore. But look at that with the extreme weather coming through, severe thunderstorm warnings with those cells, and it left quite a bit of damage in its path. Every circle you see here indicates a severe weather icon. So up in northern New Jersey, right there, western Passaic County, there were some downed trees, even a 63-mile-per-hour wind gust. That was over in Sandy Hook, measured by a weather station. A little further south over toward Plumstead Township, Upper Freehold Township, multiple large branches down. That was not far from where the tornado warning was posted last night for the rotation. So all of that gone, and now we pretty much do it all over again today. Another threat of severe weather headed into this evening as the front is kind of riding along New Jersey. 77 right now, the warm spot in Cape May with those southerly breezes, and we're running about 2 to 4 degrees cooler than this time yesterday thanks to that rain last night, but it's still very muggy. Dew points are in the low 70s, keeping it quite humid today. So a flood watch again through early tomorrow morning, and that's for the expectation of another round of gusty thunderstorms to come through. But we start off sunny this morning. That's even allowing for a little bit of patchy fog, 2-mile visibility right now in Flemington, 6-mile visibility in Toms River, 7-mile visibility over toward the Green and Morristown. With that southerly breeze today, the winds will start to gust into the afternoon, just like they did yesterday, up to about 20, 25 miles per hour at the beaches, and helping to enhance that thunderstorm activity as those storms move in from the west today. So the futurecast shows it nicely. We stay sunny in most of the northern part of the state right through this afternoon. It's going to be another hot and humid day, 93 as your forecast high, maybe getting up to 94 at times. But notice most of the storms today south of 195, and they start to bubble up after the evening rush, closer to 6 or 7 o'clock. Into this evening, you see those storms starting to work offshore. And then by tomorrow morning, basically this time tomorrow morning, waking up with some downpours and thunderstorms in northern New Jersey, it's your turn tomorrow morning before the clouds take over for the rest of the day. And then we get some late day breaks of sun and the storms are more widely scattered throughout the day tomorrow. I think Friday starts off a bit cloudy and stays cloudy through the afternoon. You can pretty much see that here. We'll stay in the 80s as a result. It'll still be kind of warm and humid, and then keep those clouds around until some breaks of sun arrive for Saturday. So the next few days offering more of a chance of widespread rain tomorrow throughout the northern and southern parts of the state. Clouds on Friday, and then a return to some sunshine by Saturday. Looks very pleasant to start off the weekend. We'll give you more of those details and let you know how the rest of the weekend looks, Ken. That's coming up with a full check of your forecast in a few minutes.
All right. And Mike, we talked about some areas of patchy fog, and actually we're hard pressed to find it. I think the early sunrise has burned off some of it
Mm,
already, but we
yeah.
did find one little area by Brick. So I share this picture with you, and Pam will do it. There you go.
Oh,
So you have a
yeah.
little bit of patch, but it's already rising. You could see, right? So that's not so bad when it's already coming up. Doesn't that mean that the heat of the sun is already making it rise a little bit?
That is it. Little hydrostatic equilibrium for you first thing in the
Oh, I
morning.
love it. I knew we would get a great lesson from Mike. That's awesome. You rock, my friend. All right, thank you so much, Mike. And that's all we got there. There's really we don't have any video of traffic, so that's a good thing. I figured we'd show the video of the fog. We'll get back to you, Mike. Thank you very much, sir. It's already 73 degrees in Trenton. Again, may not be super hotter than yesterday, but as Mike pointed out, the humidity levels are there, certainly in the 70 to 80% range. You could feel it when you walk outside. It's like wow, shower room. That's what it feels like. Other traffic to talk about, or traffic, I should say. We didn't have any yet. Crash on 295 northbound, south of exit 26S, which is Route 42, Belmore, by the left shoulder and the left lane. all closed. Those two, the left shoulder, left lane. We have a vehicle fire on the Garden State Parkway Express lanes northbound at exit 114, which is in Homedale. We also have a vehicle fire on Route 42 northbound, north of exit 6, which is in Gloucester Township. The right lane and the right shoulder are closed. Roving repairs, Route 206. This has been going on for days now. They're trying to get things, potholes and stuff fixed on this so that by the fall it'll be ready. But unfortunately for the summer, you have to deal with it. So this is roving repairs, Route 206 southbound. And that is south of Atzian Lake in Hamilton to south of Willow Grove Road in Chemung Township. The right lane is closed. And we have roving repairs on Route 130, also both directions, south of Hollywood Avenue in Carneys Point Township to Logan Township. All lanes are closed and everyone is being detoured. Delays at the Lincoln right now, we're told 15 to 20 in, only 10 to 15 at the Holland. Take a look at the 8095 approach to the GWB. It is already a little bit heavy. They're telling us 30 minutes. That looks like it's closer to 40, just based on the amount of traffic there at that time. But well, let's go with what they say. They say 30 minutes across. Upper and lower are moving at about the same pace. 7:06 is our time. A New Jersey school board member has been arrested on multiple gun charges. Police say 47-year-old Middletown Board of Education member Joseph Fitzgerald was arrested last week on 6 gun charges. He was booked into the Monmouth County Jail and is scheduled for a detention hearing today. Investigators say Fitzgerald was on his way to somebody's house to confront the person on June 30th when he was stopped by police and had weapons in his vehicle, according to police, including an impact stun gun and a handgun. Fitzgerald is running for re-election to the school board in November. Stratford police are warning shoppers after a credit card skimmer was found at a Family Dollar store on Warwick and Sunnybrook roads. Discovered on Sunday, the device may have been active for 2 weeks. So if you had gone to that dollar store for the 2 weeks up to that point, it's very possible if you use your credit card, it stole your information. So check the credit card activity just to see. Authorities urge customers to check their accounts and contact the bank immediately, get a new card, cancel the charges if you have been compromised. 7:07, we announced yesterday that tickets to attend last night's FIFA World Cup semifinals at MetLife Stadium were being sold for pennies on the dollar because ticket sales were weak. In fact, they were selling those tickets for $13. Originally, they were like $400. So it was like an incredible discount. Well, that's all about to change. We'll tell you why here. President Trump, to lend his support, to give a little support to FIFA, President Trump announced he will be attending the FIFA Club World Cup final at MetLife Stadium this Sunday, July 13th. The match follows the semifinal between Chelsea and Fluminense, which happened last night, with the winner facing either Real Madrid or PSG. In fact, we should know by now. I'm not a soccer fan. I got to check to see which one, PSG or Real Madrid. We should be knowing right now. FIFA President Gianni Infantino thanked Trump for hosting the tournament as New Jersey gears up for next year's World Cup. The thing is, as you know, even though we have a lot of international people from around the tri-state, many of them live in New York, Queens, Bronx, and a lot of them have difficulty getting to New Jersey, to MetLife Stadium. And that seems to be the problem because there are soccer fans in the tri-state. It's just that it's expensive. A lot of those fans don't have the money or the means to come. So it would be probably different if it were held in Queens or something, but we'll see what happens. Soccer is a great sport, and it's an international sport, so fingers crossed. 7:09 now, New Jersey's new mansion tax, so-called mansion tax, we'll get into that in a second, effective July 10th, shifts the burden to quote-unquote luxury home sellers with rates of up to 3.5% on sales over $1 million. Now, let me pause right now. Having been a guy who sold his home in the last year and seeing what other homes are going for on the market right now, in a town like West Caldwell, which is a middle-class, beautiful town, middle class, 70% of the houses in West Caldwell now are over $1 million. Nobody in West Caldwell makes $1 million a year. So it's not a millionaire's tax anymore, okay? If you want to charge millionaire tax fees, you should start at $2 million because probably 60% of the houses in the state of New Jersey are selling for $1 million or more. And when they wrote this tax 7 years ago or whatever, when they first came up with the concept, the idea of a millionaire's tax and the mansion tax sounded like rich. Now the average Joe house is sold for $1 million or more. So get with the program. And Pam, I'm just curious. You don't have to, I won't say how much, but how much is that house you're trying to sell going for right now? What do you have it listed as? Just tell me in my ear. Okay. So it's under the million, but you know from the area, right? There are a lot of middle class towns in New Jersey where it's $1 million or more. So this millionaire's tax, this mansion tax, is going to impact the vast majority of people trying to sell their homes. It's one thing, New Jersey used to have it at 1%. It's now 3.5%. So if you go to sell your house for $1 million, $35,000 goes directly to the state of New Jersey. So you have to now account for that when you sell the house, which means that's money out of your pocket. You worked on that house for years, you raised your kids in it, et cetera. And now 35 grand of that million goes directly to the state. The same thing does not exist in a state like Florida, which has 2.5 times the population and lower property taxes. You tell me how they're able to do it for less or nothing, and we charge a millionaire's tax. It's called corruption. All right, look it up. It's because of nonsense pet projects on the left being doled out in order to get reelected. That stuff would not be tolerated in other states, but we just accept it in the Northeast. Now, with $1 million sales doubling in 2019, more homeowners face the pinch. Yeah, and they've doubled again 2 more times since 2019. The tax will fund affordable housing and other programs, something that most people don't want. You work hard to get into a nicer neighborhood, and all of a sudden, affordable housing, and in many cases, not all, but in many cases, affordable housing brings drugs, homelessness. Those people come into affordable housing, and in 6 months, they're out of that affordable housing again, into your nice neighborhood that you worked your whole life to buy that $1 million house in. So now you're going to pay $35,000 tax, or somebody's going to pay that amount to get into your house, and all of a sudden, affordable housing. It's a nice way of saying housing for people who can't afford it. So think about that next time you go to vote Democrat. New Jersey lawmakers are debating 2 bills to tighten homeschooling regulations. Assembly Bills 5825 and 5796 would mandate state-aligned curricula and annual wellness checks for homeschoolers. So let me translate this for you. You're a religious parent and you want to homeschool your kids, and you don't want them learning about homosexuality or transgenderism. The state comes in and checks up on how you homeschool your kids now. This is what New Jersey wants to do. So they're like, okay, you want to homeschool your kids because you're conservative and we're liberal? We're going to come in and make sure you're doing it according to our standards. That's what they want to do now. That's, again, when you vote Democrat. So many people in New Jersey are personally conservative, but because grandma and grandpa always voted Democrat, they insist on voting Democrat still. And this is what you get. Critics like me argue the measures infringe on educational freedom and overburden schools. Supporters say they ensure student welfare. Bullshit. What student welfare? The kid is at home with his mom and dad. What student welfare? With up to 94,000 homeschooled students in the state, the debate is heating up, and it will continue to heat up. Mind your frickin' business. I want to raise my kid with a certain value. Mind your friggin' business, Trenton. It is 7:13. 1 year after its launch, New Jersey's Retire Ready New Jersey program has enrolled over 18,000 workers, amassing $8.1 million in assets. Aimed at private sector employees without employer-sponsored retirement plans, the state-run initiative allows payroll deductions into IRAs. Over 1,200 employers have joined, targeting the state's 1 million workers without retirement plans. State officials praise the program as a model for accessible retirement savings nationwide. Adam Sandler's love for New Jersey's Jewish delis is taking center stage. His Happy Madison production is filming a Netflix comedy, Don't Say Good Luck, at Nana's Deli in Livingston. Great deli, by the way. Transformed into what will be the fictional Birnbaum's Deli, starring Sunny Sandler as theater kid Sophie, yes, Adam's daughter. The cast includes Max Greenfield, Stephanie Beatrice, Melanie Linsky, Bibi Newirth, and Steve Buscemi. And yes, he pronounces it Buscemi, not Buscemi. I've asked him personally. 7:14, police announced an Atlantic City man was found dead late Sunday on the Route 40 overpass leading to Atlantic City High School. The information was released yesterday. They say 43-year-old Vaughn Lyons was found just before midnight with several gunshot wounds on Albany Avenue. Lyons was pronounced dead at the scene. No arrests yet, but police are investigating. And New Jersey's big pharma corporation, the Cigna Group, just completed its 4th round of layoffs this year at its Morris Plains-based subsidiary Cigna Evernorth Health Services. Evernorth announced the layoffs back in April, affecting over 60 workers. The previous cuts took effect between March 15th and April 12th. This branch of Cigna specializes in pharmacy benefits management, data analysis, and other things. Parent company Cigna, which is based in Connecticut, is one of the largest health insurance organizations on the planet. And police in Paramus say they have arrested a suspect in the shooting that critically injured a Philadelphia school safety officer June 29th. 28-year-old Arisa Johnsteban was picked up on Saturday in connection with that shooting. Authorities say the on-duty Philadelphia school safety officer was shot June 29th just before 2 a.m. on Columbus Boulevard during a road rage incident. Apparently, after a long day, was in the police car headed home, and this individual allegedly shot him twice. Investigators say John Steban was driving his own vehicle when he allegedly shot the school resource officer in the face and chest as the officer was simply sitting in his police cruiser. That officer rushed to the hospital in critical. We don't know his condition today. The officer spent 48 years as a police officer for the city of Philadelphia and then the school system. It is 73 degrees right now, 7:16. When we come back, New Jersey Globe editor David Wildstein will have the latest on New Jersey's political scene with the Inside Edge. Areas of fog this morning. We've only found one so far. Then mixed sun and clouds today. Could be a storm or some sort of boomer down in the southern part of the state later in the day. Highs around 90. Meteorologist Mike Favetta returns with a full Garden State forecast, and we will take your calls at 888-658-0234. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings. We'll be right back. Hello, welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. It's Wednesday. I'm Ken Rosato, 717, taking your calls at 888-658-0234. Some random areas of patchy fog this morning, then mixed sun and clouds today. Could be a late day shower thunderstorm down in the southern part of the state. Highs around 90. Meteorologist Mike Favetta explains for us with the Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Ken, it's good weather for gardening today. Got the pavers in the ground yesterday in the garden, kind of making sure everything is right. Right, because had to wait for the shade to come over. I wanted to take my own advice and not exert myself in the sun because it got hot real fast. And it'll get hot real fast today if you just try and get out and maybe water the plants a little extra. Got to get the tomatoes watered, especially with heat this warm. We're back in the low 90s today, upper 80s in central New Jersey. There is a chance for some storms, but it's not as severe as yesterday, nor will it be as early in the day as yesterday. Today's storms probably south of 195 and later on after 5 or 6 o'clock. So until that time, temperatures rise quickly. We start off this morning with temperatures feeling like they're in the 70s. It's not terrible, but there is some more rain on the way in the form of some downpours, which is why there's a flood watch out, because throughout Friday into Saturday morning, we could have anywhere from 1 to 2, maybe up to 3 inches of rain in that area shaded in yellow. So southern half of the state could pick up quite a bit of water. You see the storms from last night headed out east. Now we're in this little bit of a break, but back off to the west, there's more storms headed in our direction. It's all along the next front that'll slide on through and give us our chances of rain after we have a pretty decent start to the day. UV index is a 10, which is very high on the map. So we'll take that, especially after the cloudy finish to last evening. Went out to the grill yesterday and started hearing the thunderstorms just as they were coming through. So the timing, again, if you're south of 195, will pretty much be the same into the end of the day. By later on this evening, a 76-degree dew point, tropical, down toward Mount Holly, even out by LBI in Atlantic City. Very warm, very humid all throughout the day on Thursday. And it stays that way even going into Friday. We don't really tap into some relief until the start of the weekend, where it starts to cool down a little bit, but it's just going to stay quite muggy all throughout the next few days. The heat is on for most of New Jersey today. You see the clear sky right up until about 4 o'clock. So sunshine, blazing heat. We're back up in the low 90s. No heat advisory, though, because it doesn't feel like 100 or greater. But as we head into this evening, these are the thunderstorms that begin to bubble up and work their way across the state, primarily working across southern New Jersey and then another round across northern New Jersey by tomorrow morning. Thursday, tomorrow, same deal. Have some sun in the morning, clouds and storms in the afternoon, your typical run-of-the-mill New Jersey summertime afternoon. And then by Friday, I think there's some more clouds around, which prevents us from warming up too quickly into the low 90s, but it'll still be warm. And then we wrap up the weekend, I think, with a quick passing shower, but most of the weekend is nice and dry, which is some good news. And then we start off next week with some warm weather again and an afternoon chance of storms. So the weekend is actually looking pretty decent. Saturday, a mix of clouds and sun, a little bit of an east-southeasterly breeze getting up to 87 and 88 by Sunday. Plenty of heat and humidity to enjoy. And then, of course, a late day chance of a shower as expected the middle of July. But the weather is looking pretty much on target for where we should be. I don't see any big heat waves upcoming, although it does get a little bit warmer than average in the next 2 weeks, and that could mean some more heat advisories here for New Jersey, as we just can't seem to kick the heat. But, then it'll get too cold, and then everybody will start complaining that it's too cold, so we'll just take it as
Exactly. It is July. Actually, Pam is saying about your never, never. I don't know if you're hearing it too. She's saying never, never. She loves the cold.
Yeah.
She's a hockey girl. She loves her cold weather. So, but yeah. And by the way, just to share with everybody, here's something that'll put a smile on your face. Today is National Sugar Cookie Day. You would think that would be
Ooh,
like early December, but nonetheless, my mouth is watering thinking of sugar.
you
I
could
have one of
bake them
those,
in the
one of those,
mailbox today.
or on your paver stones.
On your pave, that's right. Yeah, use a little griddle. Do some eggs and bacon.
Absolutely. Why not? All right, Mike. Thank you, buddy. It is 73 degrees in Trenton right now, as they say, Trenton. My mother-in-law is from Trenton, and she always says, yeah, we're going to Trenton. I love it. She's been living in Boca Raton for years, but she still says Trenton when she pronounces it. In terms of traffic, we have roving repairs going on Route 206 right now, southbound from south of Atzion Lake Park entrance in Hamilton to Willow Grove Road in Chemung. The right lane is closed. Also, roving repairs on Route 130 in both directions from Hollywood Avenue, Carneys Point Township to Logan Township. All lanes are closed and everyone's being detoured. Beware of that. We have about 20 minutes in at the Lincoln, 10 to 15 at the Holland. Taking a look at the 8095 approach to GWB. It is heavier on the upper level on the right, as you can see, than the lower. We're told it's still only about 25 minutes in via the GWB, which is pretty good. But nonetheless, take the lower level. That's your better bet right now. It is 7:23. Time now for politics from Trenton. Explain like nobody else can do it. Here's New Jersey Globe editor David Weilstein with the Inside Edge.
Morning, everybody. Welcome to the Inside Edge. It's Wednesday, July 9th. And here's something undeniable. Bob Torricelli is one of the smartest political strategists of my generation. And so I felt a little old yesterday when a talented but very young political operative working on a Jersey campaign didn't recognize the name of the former United States senator. This is about working your way up the ladder. Torricelli grew up in a political home in Franklin Lakes. His father had run for councilman and mayor a few times. He did it as a Democrat, which means he lost all those races. But young Bob Torricelli was immediately more successful when he was in 8th grade. So I guess around 1964, he was elected junior mayor of Franklin Lakes. And when he was 21 and the Rutgers class president, this was 1972, the first year 21-year-olds could vote, Torricelli ran for delegate to the Democratic National Convention. He was on a slate pledged to Ed Muskie. Muskie dropped out in April, and that was good for Torricelli. It protected his lifetime undefeated record. He'd have lost to the McGovern slate that included Loretta Weinberg and Jim Bouton. And Torricelli scored his first win in that June primary, 72. He won a seat as a county committeeman, and he quickly became the Franklin Lakes Democratic municipal chairman. In 1973, he became the sergeant at arms of the Democratic State Committee and the District 40 Democratic chairman. And he was chairman of students for Brendan Byrne that year. And while in law school, he managed the Democratic Freeholder campaign in Bergen in 1975. That was a Republican year statewide, but Democrats won 2 seats, and that clinched them control for another 2 years. In 1977, Governor Brendan Byrne was in a really tough race, both in a primary and a general, and Torricelli served as his deputy campaign manager. So while still in law school, he joined Byrne's staff. He became an assistant counsel, and then in 1978, he went to Washington as an aide to Vice President Walter Mondale, and in 1980, Jimmy Carter's reelection campaign dispatched him to Illinois. He managed the primary campaign against Ted Kennedy, and Carter won that primary by 13 points. And then in 1982, at age 31, Torricelli ran for Congress in a Bergen-Hudson district. He knocked on 75,000 doors. He unseated a 3-term Republican congressman named Harold Hollenbeck by 7 points. And what he said in his victory speech that night was incredibly prescient. He said Democrats had failed to develop a message nationally. He said, not because we represent too few interests, but because we seek to represent too many. He thought the big tent of the Democratic Party had become too big and unmanageable. And Torricelli called on national Democrats to undergo a self-examination of his party. He said, understand why the party of ideas seemed to be so uncertain. That's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks for listening. I'll be back tomorrow.
Yes, indeed. And in fact, the Democratic Party today could take a lesson from Bob Torricelli from then. That was the time in history when the Democrat Party decided to be everything to everyone. They abandoned white males and white females, but white males predominantly the middle class, which used to be their bread and butter. They said to hell with that. They decided to be a hobbled together association of every victim group. You name the victim group, and that's what the Democrats decided to serve. And unfortunately, every one of those so-called victim groups, first of all, they don't all want to be victims, as we find out with black males and Hispanic males now. They're like tired of being held down by the Democrats, and that's why they've shifted to Trump, and many gays too. And secondly, those groups, you can't say they all stand for the same thing. They don't. Many don't like Trump, but that's not something to run on. You got to tell us what you're for, not what you're against. So there you go. Bob Torricelli was right. I'm so glad David Wildstein brought it to light, as always. David is amazing. 727, NJ Transit is preparing to advance the Northern Rail Maintenance of Way, or MOW, facility project in Clifton, pending approval from the state comptroller. This marks the first step in a 2-phase process to hire a team for the project's final design and construction. The project will construct a new maintenance of way facility and yard, replacing the aging and flood-prone Woodridge facility. The new location will provide modernized space for maintenance, servicing, and repair of vehicles. Looks like Clifton is encountering some financial challenges that may force tax hikes and layoffs. The Clifton City Council voted to introduce a budget Monday that increases municipal taxes by over 5%. At the same meeting, the City Council announced that the city may have to lay off workers to help close the community's budget gap. It's the third year the council had failed to introduce the budget by its mid-March deadline. This year, the state finally mandated that the city had to introduce a budget by July 7th. 728, you may soon be able to keep on your shoes at the airport TSA checkpoint. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem made the announcement yesterday.
We have some very exciting news to announce that today we have started a new no shoes policy with the Department, the Transportation Security Administration. TSA will no longer require travelers to remove their shoes when they go through our security checkpoints. This is something that I know for quite some time people have talked about and discussed, and we know that when President Trump was elected that he pledged to make life better for all Americans, and that includes those who are travelers going through our busy airports.
Did she say this is something for a long time people have known about in disgust or and discussed? ED, because either one could work. The change appears to be a phased approach. The first airports where the no shoes requirement is expiring include Baltimore Washington International, Fort Lauderdale International, where I tend to fly, Philadelphia International, and several others. So those are the ones near us. Newark is on the list, so it should come soon enough. Travelers with TSA pre-check already don't have to take off their shoes, so nothing is going to change for them. But this action should speed up the entire screening process for everyone, because like at Newark Airport, I have pre-check, but a lot of times they funnel you. First, they get you through a faster lane, and now you have to get in line with everybody else. So that includes people who have to take off their shoes. So I have to wait behind them. So this no shoe rule is going to be great. By changing the rule, that is, because even those with pre-check, everything will speed up. And that rule began in 2006, several years after a December 2001 incident, if you recall, in which so-called shoe bomber Richard Reed tried to blow up an American Airlines flight, God forbid, from Paris to Miami with explosives that were hidden in his shoes. He went into the men's room, or in the bathroom, I should say, on the plane, and the shoe burned up in the bathroom. Fortunately, Reed failed. Passengers held him down because they were kicked off after 9/11 at that point until authorities could arrest him once the plane landed. Eric, the travel guy Hastings, is going to join us in just a little bit. He's going to tell us more about it. 7:31, we have a temperature of 73 degrees. The phone lines are open, 888-658-0234. Some areas of fog this morning, otherwise mixed sun and clouds today, highs about 90. Maybe some rainy weather, stormy weather late in the day down in the southern part of the state. That's it, not in the north or central. The full Garden State forecast with meteorologist Mike Favetta in just a moment. You're watching on New Jersey Mornings. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Jeanette Hoffman, host of Energy Matters. Join me every night at 6 p.m. where we're discussing energy affordability, challenges, and solutions with stakeholders and elected officials. Join me weekdays at 6 p.m. on Energy Matters on ONNJ.
Good morning, 73 degrees, 7:32, Wednesday, July 9th, 2025. I'm Ken Rosato. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. Areas of fog this morning, just a few, then mixed sun and clouds today. Could be a shower or thunderstorm way in the southern part late in the day. Highs around 90. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with a detailed Garden State forecast. And I have to say, Mike, I look at Jeanette Hoffman, who's such a beautiful lady. Her hair is the most gorgeous hair. Every time I see that promo, I think I would have died in the day for hair like that. She has the most gorgeous hair ever. Just had to say, I'm sorry.
No, she does. I'm watching the replay right now. It's impressive considering the humidity that we have today, trying to prevent the cowlick on this side of the head. I mean, it's hard. It's hard when you have so much humidity around. We're just lucky we still have hair, right?
True.
Count
True.
every follicle. Yeah. We start off this
Absolutely.
morning with that humid, steamy feel. So, kind of nature redoing your hair today, especially with that hot and muggy condition through this afternoon. The storms that are likely are in the southern part of New Jersey. You really have to be south of 195 to see any of that rain or flooding possible. The severe winds also likely yet again. And that's primarily, again, for the southern part of the state. So, typically, early this morning on a visible satellite, you can start to see a little bit of fog. Some of it is really up in the valleys here in northwestern New Jersey and over there toward Route 78. But beyond that, looking pretty clear this morning. So some good news there. And with that, we'll see a nice warm up today, allowing for some storms to develop by the early afternoon in southern New Jersey. From Atlantic City to Ocean City, upper 80s for you, 90s further inland. With that southerly breeze today, the temperature at the shore pretty much matches that of inland areas. And even with the heat index climbing quickly up into the mid 90s, it will not feel like 95 or higher, which is where the heat advisory would be in place. And you don't have that today, unlike yesterday. So slightly cooler as compared to yesterday's highs. Now, tomorrow we may get up to 95 in spots with more sunshine throughout the early part of the day. And same deal on Friday, could get up to 96 there in Trenton and Mount Holly, even toward Medford and Millville. So there is still some heat left this week, but there's also a chance of storms each and every day. And then going into Saturday, starts to see things cool down just a little bit. So great weather for the beaches through the morning into the early afternoon, especially with the 104 record set back in not just 1936, but also 1993. Far from that today. A little bit of a cooler feel. So they're clear right now, but there are some clouds moving in off from the west, and those will help bring down temperatures by the end of the day. Atlantic City's water temperature has a little bit of early morning upwelling there. 66-degree water temperature for you, about 10 degrees warmer heading down toward Cape May. Your high tide just happened at 8:19, and then Sandy Hook, a very warm afternoon for you. So great day for the beach, especially in Monmouth and Ocean County, where even the surf only about 2 feet, and we're up to a moderate level of rip currents today, but it's always obviously important to swim in those lifeguarded zones as the winds are not as high today. So the severe threat, again, the area shaded in yellow, level 2 on the scale of 1 to 5, is south and west. You really have to be south of 195, south of the expressway, to tap into that severe threat of wind. But there is still the potential of some strong gusty winds later on today into this evening as those storms push on through. It's with the front that's off to our west, doesn't move through until the end of the day tomorrow, but when it finally does, it kind of wobbles back and forth across New Jersey. We had this happen last week, and it didn't quite clear out until the weekend. That's also going to be the case again today. Finally clears out by Saturday, so we get a beautiful day full of sunshine and warm weather, making it look great for any outdoor plans on Saturday. Saturday really looks nice. Again, so we start to cool things down throughout the day on Thursday and Friday. Still heat around, though. It'll be humid, and temperatures will feel like the low 90s. Then as we head into the weekend, there's another chance of rain heading in for Sunday evening as well as Monday, but I think it's dry yet again by Tuesday. So very typical of July, even with the shore points pointing to a chance of rain each afternoon. Friday, hot again with some morning sun, afternoon clouds and showers, and then Saturday looks great. Sunday is dry at the shore, 88 and sunny, and we stay right just under that 90-degree mark going into early next week. So great weather for those plants to grow, and Ken, I'm sure the gardens will be really hopping in just a matter of days. I see the basil's like exploded in the last 2 weeks. It
Uh-huh.
really enjoys this
Like a
weather.
weed. Like a weed. In fact, it's
Yes,
funny. I looked out. We
fragrance.
have it on our deck. We have it in a giant planter, and I saw the other day. I watered early in the morning, just a little water, and
Mm,
then at the end of the day, it was wilted already from all the heat we had. I said, "Son of a
wow.
gun!" So I put
Yeah,
out like 2 quarts of water into the planter. By the next morning, it's amazing how if it's just a little wilted, you could catch it. You can't leave it for days, but by the next
right.
morning, that wilt went and it sucked up all that water and just filled those leaves, and they're big and dark. Unbelievable. There's nothing like, even if you don't cook with it, there's just nothing like the scent
That's
and the
true.
sight of basil in the
Yep.
summer. Look at the
Yeah.
Italian hand right away. It's genetic, folks. I'm sorry. It's genetic.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So it is what it is. All right, Michele, grazie molto per tutto. I'll talk to you in a little bit. 73 degrees. I'm sorry. If you know an Italian, you know it's just an automated response. Especially when we're talking about things Italian. I try to keep my hands down. I have friends who tease me my whole life, like, put your hands behind your back, see if you could talk. And I can't. It's difficult. 7:38 right now. We have a crash now in the Garden State Parkway southbound, south of exit 143C, which is Irvington. The right lane is blocked. We have roving repairs Route 206 southbound from Atzian Lake Park entrance in Hamilton to south of Route 648 Willow Grove Road in Chemung. One right lane closed. And roving repairs also on Route 130 in both directions from Hollywood Avenue in Carneys Point Township to Logan Township. All lanes are closed. Everyone's being detoured. Let's take a look right now on the New Jersey Turnpike. This is mile marker 108.7, the eastern spur south of interchange 15W. It's moving, but you can see it's quite heavy. And you can see in the distance there, that's the Pulaski Skyway. Wow, those folks in the left lane. Did he hit? It looked like yeah, that's what it looked like. It looked like we just witnessed. Yeah, now they're stopped. Uh-oh, you just witnessed an accident on camera, folks. You see that? Now everybody's stopped. Why? I have never in my 30 something years as an anchor here in the New York market, I have never witnessed a live accident live on camera. You would think it would have happened. Now they're going to try to get off to the shoulder. That's what he's trying to do so that they could discuss. But you just saw that live. So I'm guessing the insurance company is going to want our video. Interesting. Okay, there you go. I mean, can you blame them if they kind of stop short? It is what it is, but it's nobody's fault in that case. That's why we have no fault insurance in New Jersey. 7:39 right now. He just drove away. Or maybe it was just a little love tap. Yeah, it didn't look like a big crash, Pam. That looked like a little love tap on the back. Let's hope nobody had any damage to their car. Oh, Pam is saying they're pulling off way up on. Yeah, I see it on the upper right side. Sorry, we're just making the whole show about this now. Yeah, they'll take care of it. I see they stopped on the upper right. You're right. It is what it is. Let's take a look if we can. That's the 8095 approach to the GWB. Before we had a better approach on the upper level. Let's see how things are looking right now. Now the lower level's better. That's the way it goes through the morning. But it's not bad overall. We're talking about 20 minutes 20 to 25 minutes on the GWB. It's 15 to 20 on the Lincoln and 10 minutes at the Holland to get into Manhattan. Not bad. 7:40, the Supreme Court yesterday backed President Trump's effort to carry out mass firings and reorganizations at federal agencies, putting on hold a lower court order that had temporarily blocked the president from taking those steps without approval from Congress. Yes, the president is the head of the executive branch. Those people he suspended or fired work for the executive branch. So he is the CEO of the executive branch. That would be like telling the chairman of your company that they can't lay you off. That is their right. Even though Congress allocated the funds to pay them, Congress allocates the funds for everything. The president is designated in the Constitution as the CEO of the executive branch. That's why the term executive order exists. It's not so that they could pass any law they want. It makes the executive leader, who is the president, constitutionally, and anybody who's a lawyer, you know this, it means they are the CEO of the executive branch. And as the CEO, they could lay off. They have problems laying off individuals for non-causal reasons. That has gone to the Supreme Court. But if they want to lay off an entire division, they have that right. And then you have these little gnats of regional judges who try to be pains in the ass. The Supreme Court, once again, this is now the third time in 3 weeks the Supreme Court has had to slap them and say, shut the hell up. Let the president do the constitutional duty of the president. And once again, the Supreme Court has had to tell a district court, mind your effing business. The Constitution gives the president the executive branch authority to do this. So the decision is just the latest in a series of significant wins for Trump at the Supreme Court, including an opinion making it more difficult to challenge executive orders and rulings backing the administration's deportation policies. You'll recall that was a few weeks ago. In an unsigned order, the High Court said that lower courts had stopped the plans based on the administration's general effort rather than specific agency reduction in force plans that would drastically cut the size of the government workforce. The case stems from an executive order that Trump signed in mid-February that kicked off the process of significantly reducing the size of federal agencies. Remember DOGE, an issue that the president campaigned on last year. Departments subsequently announced plans to lay off tens of thousands of employees, saving you and me tens of billions of dollars. And let me just remind you, what happens is you get, especially Democrat, but even Republican administrations, when the jobs reports come out and it looks like jobs numbers are bad, what do liberal presidents do? They create, quote unquote, federal jobs that are not necessary just to make the unemployment numbers look better to you. Those jobs are unneeded. So that's how we bloat the department. Just 25 years ago, the number of people working in federal agencies was in the few 100,000. Right now, you know how many people work for the federal government? 4 million. 4 million people work. That's like 2% of the entire workforce of the country works for the federal government. That's insanity. We do not need that many people, especially in an era of computerization and AI, where that can be done automatically. So this is all bloat in order to make it look like we have unemployment down. And President Trump is like, I'm going to get down unemployment without that trick. We're just going to create jobs by giving the middle class and businesses, small businesses, incentive, as opposed to creating unnecessary jobs of the government that you and I pay for. It is what it is. And again, the gnat district judges, little gnats that they are, slap them down, Supreme Court. Good. 7:43, Middletown School Board member Joseph Fitzgerald was arrested last week on 6 gun charges. Police stopped the 47-year-old June 30th as he allegedly headed to confront somebody with weapons, including a stun gun and a Ruger handgun. Fitzgerald, elected in 2022, is suspended from the board. He faces a detention hearing today. Stratford police warning shoppers after a credit card skimmer was found at a Family Dollar store on Warwick and Sunnybrook Roads. Discovered on Sunday, the device may have been active 2 weeks, stealing people's credit card information. Authorities urge customers to check their accounts and contact their banks if they've been compromised. 7:44, we announced yesterday tickets to attend last night's FIFA World Cup semifinals at MetLife were being sold for pennies on the dollar because ticket sales were weak. Well, all that's about to change. President Trump announced he is going to attend the FIFA Club World Cup final at MetLife Stadium Sunday. This match follows the semifinal between Chelsea and Fluminense, with the winner facing either Real Madrid or PSG. FIFA President Gianni Infantino thanked Trump for hosting the tournament as New Jersey gears up for next year's World Cup. New Jersey's new mansion tax, so-called mansion tax, effective July 10th, shifts the burden to more wealthy, if you will, middle class really, home sellers, with rates up to 3.5% on sales of over $1 million. A $3.5 million home could now cost sellers over $47,000 in tax. With $1 million sales doubling since 2019, more homeowners face the pinch. The tax will fund affordable housing and others. They want to put low-income housing in middle and upper middle-class neighborhoods because that's the way socialists, which we now call Democrats, they're really socialists and communists. This is the way they have equity. See, no matter how hard you work to get into a nicer neighborhood, screw you. You're a selfish racist. We're going to plop low-income housing in the middle of your town, so your kids are going to have to deal with drug dealers and drug addicts and blight, because that's the way they look at equity. That's what equity is about. Doesn't matter that you all start the same. Liberals want you to finish the same. So it's not fair that you worked hard and afforded a nice house in a nice neighborhood. Screw you. You're not entitled to that. So we're going to put low-income housing in the middle of your neighborhood. And if there's drugs and everything else, screw it. You'll have to deal with it. And that's just the way it is. Thank you, liberals. Remember that next time you go to vote Democrat. 7:46 right now. We have 73 degrees. When we come back, you'll soon be able to keep on those shoes at airport TSA checkpoints. Eric, the travel guy Hastings, will join us to explain. Areas of fog this morning, mixed sun and clouds today, highs about 90, maybe a storm down in the southern part of Jersey. Meteorologist Mike Favetta returns with the full Garden State forecast, and we'll take calls at 888-658-0234. You're watching on New Jersey Mornings. We'll be right back. I love that intro. It reminds me of like public affairs music from 1981, Community Cable Channel 28. What do you think? I see Eric Hastings on the screen. You know what I'm talking about, Eric, right? Yes. All right. 7:47. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. Welcome back to Community Cable Channel 227. I'm Ken Rosato. It is 7:47. Taking your calls at 888-658-0234. Some patchy fog this morning, otherwise mixed sun and clouds today. Could be a storm way in southern Jersey late in the day. Highs around 90. Straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta here on Community Cable Channel 228 with the Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
It reminds me of one of those SNL skits after Weekend Update that aren't so good. You know? It's like
100%.
Okay, time to turn the
Exactly.
TV off. Yeah. But it's all right. We've got some great weather to be outside, though, right? Awesome forecast to enjoy. A little bit of summer heat up in northern New Jersey. So if you plan to be that way, you have less of a chance of rain today. If you're down toward the beaches after 3, 4 o'clock, keep an eye to the sky. Might be some storms rolling through. But over toward Hackensack, Jersey City, Newark, these places will enjoy sun pretty much clear through the afternoon with not much of a threat of storms, but it does stay hazy. Here it says foggy, but it's that haze and humidity that lingers into the end of the day. That usually reduces air quality, and right now air quality is okay, but throughout the afternoon it will climb back into the upper 80s and low 90s, and anytime the number is below 100, that's pretty good. The forecast number is 100 today, and that I think will keep things at the moderate level statewide. Now, going into the middle of July, there is plenty of heat and humidity here in New Jersey, but it's not as bad as places like all the way up toward Maine or out in the Pacific Northwest and even down along the Gulf Coast. Those places have higher chances of seeing above average temperatures, and even through the middle of the month, rain chances are just about average, if not slightly above. Our forecast for the next few days shows a pretty July average forecast going into the end of the week, with the storms today, southern New Jersey, tomorrow, more widespread, especially in the northern part of the state, clearing by Friday into Saturday, a beautiful start to the weekend. And then we're right back to the afternoon storms through Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Southern sections of the state, the shore points, have plenty of clear sky into this weekend. So it's a great beach weekend to enjoy. And even next week, Ken, it'll feel pretty warm and muggy each morning and afternoon. Great beach weather all around, pool weather, what have you. Lots of sun around. But just remember, when thunder roars, go indoors. So many people at the pool yesterday with thunderstorms cracking, just a few miles away. And I'm like, it's not my job, but like, come on, stay safe.
If I'm correct, and I recall back in the day hearing meteorologist Bill Evans at that other station I worked at for 20 years every day, haunting my brain. He used to say something, and correct me if I'm wrong, is it that if you hear thunder, if you hear the sound of thunder, the lightning could be as far away as 7 miles? Is that right?
Oh, even
And it could
more,
still hit
sure.
you more than
Yeah.
7 miles. So that's
There was a bolt
if you
from the
think it's
blue.
far,
Yeah,
wow.
it's called a bolt from the blue, and that was how the lifeguard in southern New Jersey was hit. The storm center was back over the Philadelphia area, and this lightning bolt traveled dozens of miles. It's possible. It's extremely rare, but it's certainly possible. But when you hear thunder, you're within a few miles of the storm, so it's important to take cover.
Yeah, especially more. Listen, it's bad in the ocean. You could be electrocuted, certainly,
Sure.
but at least if it's far in the ocean, it dissipates a little. If you're in a pool, you're
Yeah.
done. So get the hell out of the pool and get away from the pool because it's a giant magnet for it, right? Just get into shelter. All right, and don't get under a tree, whatever you do. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it, my friend. It is 73 degrees. Yeah, getting under a tree is the worst thing you could do because if the tree is taller, it'll get hit and then it could fall on you. You don't want that. Many people have died that way. Take a look at the traffic right now. This is New Jersey Turnpike mile marker 122.05, southbound 95. This is right after you come into New Jersey from the GWB. It is slow and heavy. So this is up the area by Englewood. And you could see the buildings there as you know that area if you come over from Manhattan into New Jersey, but that's way heavier than it usually is. So just be aware of that. We have roving repairs on 206 southbound from south of Atzian Lake Park entrance in Hammondtown to south of Willow Grove Road in Chemung Township. The right lane is closed. Roving repairs on 130 in both directions from Hollywood Avenue, Carneys Point Township to Logan Township, with all lanes closed, everyone being detoured. We're told the Holland Tunnel is still your best bet. It's only 10 to 15 into Manhattan, 15 to 20 at the Lincoln. 8095 approach right now, the opposite direction, not far from where those trucks were a moment ago. This is the opposite way now. This is as you're heading into Manhattan. And it's funny how it shifts from hour to hour. An hour ago, the upper level on the right was your better approach. The lower level, not so much. Now it's exactly the opposite. The lower level, your better approach on the left. Upper level, a little slower. Either way, it's only about 25 minutes in via the GWB. It is 7:52, and I see Eric. There he is. I saw walk away a minute. I got scared. You will soon be able to keep on your shoes. Hey, keep those shoes on. You don't have to show those holy socks and the stinky toes at the airport TSA checkpoint. Nothing like taking the dirty soled shoes and putting them in the same bin where you now have to put your, like the bag that you just bought food in and put it right next to it. Isn't it great? So the no shoes rule began in 2006, several years after a December 2001 incident, during which the so-called shoe bomber Richard Reed tried to blow up an American Airlines flight from Paris to Miami with explosives hidden in his shoe. So this was right after 9/11. America was on guard, and this guy literally a couple of months after 9/11 tried to blow up an American Airlines flight. Fortunately, people were on guard watching. He caught his shoes on fire in the restroom on the plane, and when the flight attendant realized what had happened with the smoke alarms, all the people on the plane held him down, and he got arrested. Thank God. But that's what started the no shoes rule. It took a few years, but that's why. Travel expert Eric the Travel Guy Hastings of ericthetravelguy.com, Eric with a K, joins us to explain. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning, my friend.
So why is this rule finally changing now after nearly 20 years with the no shoe policy in place all that time?
You know, I have a little issue with your question, Ken. I don't mind saying it. We're friends because, again, the industry that everybody loves to hate, the commercial airline industry, second only to the Department of Homeland Security and TSA, because we're so off-put that we have to be, or put off, however you want to say it, have to be screened before getting on to a commercial airliner. Look, folks, the good news is they have been working this whole time. The TSA has been improving their technologies over the years, and this is a great day for all of us flying. That now we don't have to take off our shoes for those of us that are not already TSA pre-checked.
Right. The only thing is, one thing at Newark, where I go when I'm at Terminal 2, at Newark, they pre-check and clear gets you through the first checkpoint where you have to show your ID and whatnot, gets you through really fast. Then you have to get onto a general line with everybody else. And they're the ones, see, I don't have to remove my shoes or belt, but everyone in front of me has to do it. And I got to wait for them. So it doesn't speed things up for me. Maybe my paying for pre-check helps everybody else a little bit. But now that should really, I would think that's going to speed up the process by about 30%, I would think.
I would think so. And Ken, that sounds like an operational problem at Newark. And there is a website you can go online and voice your complaints because, again, you lay out the plans and then you have to carry out the plans. And so, yes, first of all, this whole thing with the shoes and Richard Reed, was it an overcorrection to begin with? Who wants to armchair quarterback that? I don't know. I can't even wear thick socks in some of my shoes. I don't know how he managed to stuff a bomb in there. But the good news is that we are paying attention. And I have to. This reminds me of going through airport security. I get asked all the time. Should we get TSA pre-check? What's your advice? For flying. Well, I can tell you the best advice I can give you is to put on your happy pants. That's what you need to do when you're going to be flying, because that, my friends, is a travel day. I'm a big believer in respect the travel day. A lot of people get all amped up on the travel day and everything is heightened, and your relationships, you got your family around. It's very stressful to travel commercially, certainly. But good news, you don't have to travel commercially. You can always fly private. And if you don't want to fly, you could take the train. You could drive. You could walk to Texas if you want. But if you're going to participate, then my suggestion would be to, have a good attitude about the whole thing, because it can be rather stressful.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, do not fight with or give an attitude to TSA. You cannot win. So even if they're I call it the rule of threes, and I've told this to my husband every time. If you encounter a TSA agent who is not polite, you give them kindness the first time, they won't be polite. Give them kindness a second. I guarantee by the third time you're really nice to them, they'll crack a little bit. And I always remind people who travel as well, because I travel every 2 weeks through the airport. These TSA agents are having to say the same BS 1,000 times an hour, and people just keep ignoring them. Have your shoes and belts off. Have your shoes, and then people get there, they have their shoes and belts on. And
don't get me started. Now, why do you do this to me? 8:00 in the morning. I got to take my blood pressure med. Hang on a second, someone's calling my shoe phone. Hello, yes, hello, welcome. I'm busy right now. I've got to hit it on Connecticut here in a few minutes. Now, listen, but it's so true that people are like, why do we have to do this? Why do we have to? I hear them complaining in the lines all the time. Listen, most people are normal people, but there are some people that aren't like you. There's some people, they don't get it. They have to be told 1,000 times. So just take it easy. As my mom always said, circumstances are circumstances. It's how you deal with them that define you, right? So we know this is going to happen. And that goes right on the airplane too while you're at it. When you sit down on the airplane, fasten your seatbelt, follow the instructions of the crew members, because if you don't, that is a federal offense. Okay, that's a felony if you disrupt an airplane crew. All right, sit down, be quiet, stay in your seat, wear your seatbelt, and enjoy going 500 miles an hour down to Dallas.
Right. And by the way, my another rule that I've always found, again, I fly like 20 to 30 times a year in total. When you're getting on that plane, I have friends who are flight attendants, and they tell me they sum you up the minute you get on. And they're trained to do that. When you get on that plane, kill them with kindness. Hey, good morning. How was the flight up? Oh, good. Okay. I hope it's a smooth flight down. You give them a little niceness. And I find all the time they'll come over. Hey, do you want to go to that seat? They come and offer you things that you otherwise would have to beg for if you just be nice. That's all
I
it
wanted
takes.
to share this with your viewer this morning. One of the things I do is because I arrive at the airport early, because I take my own advice and show up early because I don't want to be stressed out through security. I don't want to be
Mhm.
stressed out. I just want to go and, participate in the travel day and make the best of it. One of the things I do, I'm going to tell you, it's a little secret. I don't tell everybody this. I go into the Hudson News. I pick up individually wrapped bag of candy. So something that's individually wrapped within the bag. Okay, a little safety
Mhm.
first. I keep it in the Hudson News bag and I hand that bag of candy to the flight attendant as I'm boarding. It's an $8 bribe, essentially. And they
Right.
appreciate it. They do
They'll leave
every
it back
time.
there for all the flight attendants to share
Yeah,
because that's,
yeah,
they're stuck up there too all day. Some of them maybe haven't had time to eat themselves.
yeah.
So
They're at work.
absolutely, I'm sure they'd appreciate it. So I just want to go
Mhm.
over the airports that they're going to phase this in. It's not every airport all at once. So for now, it's going to be Baltimore, Washington International. And I mentioned the next one because so many people from here fly there. Fort Lauderdale. Fort
Yeah,
Lauderdale is like one of those experimental airports. It's always one of the first they do this at. And Philadelphia International, because I know a lot of New Jersey folks fly out of Philly. Those are the airports that the no shoes rule will be disbanded at. And then I think Newark is going to get it in a few months. So just, in the meantime, just follow the rules, listen to the agents, and you'll be fine. And travelers with, again, TSA pre-check, they're already good with it. Everything is going to get better. But those new machines they have apparently are so sensitive they can detect the explosives. Not that we want to test it, but that's the good news. Yes, exactly. It's the good news. Yeah, they may see the outline of your private parts, but hey, who cares? At this point, I feel I pity them if they have to see the outline of my private parts.
it's a
Uh,
gift.
so
It's a gift, really. It's a gift.
Debbie, it's a gift for no one. Um, so would you just, with 10 seconds left here, Eric, would you say clear pre-check and global entry are worth it if you're just an occasional traveler or only really if you're a regular traveler?
Really, only if you're a regular traveler. And I say that because I'm just being honest. Unless you have an unlimited supply of money, if you're flying once a year with your family, look at enhanced passport control. That's a free solution for getting back into the country if you're traveling internationally. But yes, especially if you have global entry but your family doesn't, EPC is a good option as well. You can look that up on my website.
Yeah, and we pardon me, we should mention a lot of credit cards today will pay for it automatically. If certain American
Correct.
Express and Chase cards on, they'll pay for your pre-check and clear. Just check your credit card or do a Google search and see which credit cards cover it, and just pay for it with that, and then it'll
But
automatically be deducted from your bill. So it's a good thing.
if you're
And
flying more
as
than once a year, sorry, TSA pre-check. If you're flying more than once a year, absolutely TSA pre-check for your whole family.
good deal. And if you're in the Orlando area, go down and see the Speakeasy Murder Mystery Show at speakeasymurder.com. Get your tickets. I went. It's wonderful. And this man, it's his show. It's a great show.
Sweet.
I love it.
Thank you,
Eric
my
the
friend.
Travel Guy Hastings of ericthetravelguy.com. Eric with a K. Thank you for joining us this morning, sir. Always a pleasure seeing you.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Always. All right, my friend. It is 8:02 right now, 74 degrees, keeping with the travel theme. When we come back, we're going to speak with another travel expert. I love back-to-back travel. It is summertime. He is the founder and CEO of Award Magic, and he's going to help us use our points and miles to unlock first-class experiences. So this is something you're going to want to hear about. Plus, we're going to take your calls at 888-658-0234. Areas of fog this morning, mixed sun and clouds today, maybe a storm down in the southern part of the state late in the day. Highs around 90. Full Garden State forecast in a moment. You're watching on New Jersey Mornings. We'll be back in 30. A very good morning. It's 8:03 on Wednesday, July 9th, 2025. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. We'll take calls for you at 888-658-0234. A few areas of fog this morning, otherwise mixed sun and clouds today. Could be a late day shower thunderstorm way in the southern part of the state late in the afternoon. Highs about 90. Meteorologist Mike Favetta explains with the Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. And Ken, we were talking about before the show, you, me, and Pam, if it's worthy enough to bring an umbrella on a day like
Yeah.
today, actually just advise the wife, you know what? You're commuting into the city, you can leave the umbrella at home. Not going to be an issue if it's normal commuting hours. We should be good in northern New Jersey. Now, if you're south of, say, Tom's River, you could run into some storms as soon as 3 and 4 o'clock. So keep an eye to the sky, especially if you're making today a beach day, because it's going to be beautiful and hot and warm with all that sunshine around through the afternoon. We're already up to 79 degrees in Newark right now at this hour, 75 in Mount Holly and 79 in Camden. So it's warming quickly, but it's about 2 or 3 degrees cooler than this time yesterday, and be 4 degrees cooler in Morristown, 5 degrees cooler than this time yesterday in Trenton. The humidity, noticeable, but not oppressive. Once these numbers get into the upper 70s, that's the tropical level of humidity, and I think that'll be the case maybe later on this week. As the temperature cools off, humidity goes up. But otherwise, we'll have temperatures that will feel warm throughout the day. And yes, there is that flood risk with a flood watch for southern New Jersey as the storms begin to move on through later on this afternoon. Visibility is also improving right now, greater than 10 miles, which is good. And it stays clear through this afternoon, although some haze develops with that humidity as wind gusts come in from the south through the end of the day, up to about 20, 22 miles per hour. The Futurecast shows the storms arriving after 3 and 4 o'clock, but it's after a whole day of sunshine statewide. It'll feel quite nice and warm. And then once we get toward 5 and 6 o'clock, you see these storms begin to bubble up and work their way through, especially southern New Jersey. They start to work their way through northern New Jersey after the evening rush and especially through the overnight. So tomorrow morning, you'll likely need the umbrella headed out the door for the morning rush, and then by the afternoon we're back to sunshine, but that sun helping to fuel some more storms working their way into central and southern New Jersey and then back statewide by the end of the day. Beyond that, going into Friday and Saturday, I think we start to clear out just in time for the weekend. It is beautiful, it is dry, and it will feel very pleasant by the start of the weekend with no threat of rain. Maybe a few clouds, but otherwise a pretty decent start, not a rainy day Saturday, which is always good news. So we start off the weekend nice. We'll let you know how the weekend finishes with your 7-day forecast. That's coming up, Ken, in just a few minutes.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Much appreciated. As we take a look at traffic right now, we have some roving repairs going on Route 206 southbound from south of Atzian Lake Park entrance in Hammondtown to Willow Grove Road in Chemung Township. The right lane of the 2 lanes closed, and more roving repairs. Route 130 both directions from Hollywood Avenue, Carneys Point Township to Logan Township. All lanes are closed and everyone's being detoured. Take a look at this mess on the New Jersey Turnpike. This is mile marker 101.6, interchange 13A. So this is the exit toward Newark Airport you see on the left side of your screen. Very heavy at this hour of the morning. Pardon me. I think a lot of people are off, so they're getting out of Dodge, and that's what we have as a result. But just beware, if you're headed to Newark Airport, you may encounter that. The approaches to the Hudson River right now, we're told it's 10 to 15 minutes crossing over in the Lincoln Tunnel, only 10 minutes of the Holland. GWB 8095 approach upper and lower levels as we take a look. Not so bad. This is only 20 minutes. This is actually very good for this hour of the day. The upper level on the right, lower on the left. Either way gets into Manhattan 15 to 20. 8:07 is our time, 74 degrees in Trenton. It is peak summer travel season. And while prices are sky high, your out-of-pocket costs do not have to be. Brian Cohen is the owner and CEO of Award Magic, and he helps travelers use points and miles to unlock first-class experiences without the first-class price tag. Brian, good morning. Nice to have you on today.
Good morning. Thanks for having me, Ken.
You bet. Well, look, summer travel is certainly in full swing. We just saw the traffic to Newark Airport. Everybody's trying to get out of town. What should people know right now about using their points to get away affordably, even the last minute?
Last minute deals can be incredible. They should always be thinking about what points they have, what points they can get, so they can then do some searches on their own, or they can hire people like me to do searches for them. And then they can get these amazing travel experiences where they don't necessarily have to wait in all the lines, where they want to go to the airport early because they want to sit in the lounge and eat free food. Those kind of things can be at your fingertips if you just know how to find those opportunities.
Well, it's funny you say that because I'm looking right now at my Amex. My Amex Platinum has nearly 200,000 points. Is that a good thing?
That's a great thing. With something like 60,000 Amex points, you can transfer them to a variety of partners that they have and get business class across the Atlantic for $50 in taxes.
Wow, that's a good thing to know. It's like I don't even think about it because I'm one of those guys. I fly 90% of the time between here and South Florida, and so I fly the low cost carriers. I'll fly Spirit from Newark Airport, and because I could fly any day, any time by myself, take a middle seat, I get $46 each way. I don't care. I'm not a first class kind of guy, and it's funny because the last couple of times I flew on Spirit. I guess because I'm a silver member, they gave me one of the big front seats automatically, which is usually another $50. They gave it to me for free. And so it's like their equivalent to first class. You got to call that first class when you're talking Spirit. But there are deals out there to be had, which is amazing. Talk about some of the quick wins for people who want to get started today, maybe even booking a trip for next month, Labor Day weekend. What should they do?
Sure, sure. So the biggest thing that people do when they're trying to use points and miles is make sure they have enough of them. And so oftentimes if you want to get points quickly, you sign up for a credit card. It has this big sign up bonus after you spend a little bit of money over the course of 3 months. You get 60, 70, 100,000 bonus points. I actually just signed up for a card last week that's going to give me 200,000 bonus points as long as I can meet the spending threshold in the next 6 months. So getting your points now can help you for your next trip. Unfortunately, usually you don't get them in time for a trip happening in a month or two. But if you're looking at a 6 to 9 month time horizon, you can get those points quickly, and then you'll have plenty of time to use them on an awesome adventure, either domestically or more likely internationally in some really amazing business class seats.
And to bring up, I hate to keep bringing up the low cost carriers only because I'm one of those low cost people. You fly JetBlue or Spirit, they announce during the flight, toward the end of the flight, they try to get you to sign up for their credit cards. And when you sign up, they give you, as you mentioned, signing bonuses. I think Spirit gives you, I believe, I don't mark me on this one, but I believe it's 50,000 points upon signing for a Spirit credit card, which I think works through Bank of America. But it's a great bonus, right? And you could use it within a few months. That's a good thing. So that's actually a
It,
super deal because
it
50,000 is
can
good for
be a
Spirit.
great bonus, but I would warn you to make sure it is actually a good deal because sometimes I'm based in Philadelphia, on an American Airlines flight, they'll offer you the American Airlines Red Aviator card with a 60,000 point bonus after spending $1,000 or something like that. Little do you know that you can get the same exact bonus on the ground and you only have to spend $1. So things like that do pop up.
Interesting.
And it's important to know in advance, maybe by talking to people like me or just doing some Reddit searches on your own, but you'll find out that there are deals all the time anywhere, and they might not be the best on the plane. Of course, they want to give you a sense of urgency because they might get a commission by getting you that card in that moment.
I love, see, this is why we got you on. I love that. And for families planning a bigger vacation or maybe couples looking down the line planning a honeymoon, what is the best amount of time to plan in advance? And I know a lot of people are worried, well, if I buy now, maybe the price will drop. But there are things you could use price alerts on Google and whatnot, right? So talk about how far in advance we should book.
Sure thing. So for actual cash bookings, Google Flight Alerts does have some pretty amazing tools. You can track the exact price of a flight in cash, and it has a historic value associated with it. So they'll tell you if it's a good deal or not, and you could do that for your family of four or five or whatever you're working on. When it comes to miles and points booking, there it's a bit harder. There aren't as many tools that track it historically, but there are tools you can use to search to see what's happening in the future, and maybe you set an alert. So once the point value requirement drops below 20,000 points a person, 15,000 points a person, whatever the case may be, then you swoop in with your points on your credit card, transfer those points to whatever airline you're using, and then book it. So that's just a way that I generally do things. Of course, if you like to be a last minute traveler, like my wife and I, we recently went to South Korea on 2 weeks' notice. Then sometimes you get some really incredible deals, and you can get Qatar Airlines Q suites for like $200 a person.
Oh my God, that's phenomenal. And so, and I know that my husband and I recently did a few years ago, we did Greece and we did United Business Class and we got the lay flat. Lay flat, when you're talking about 12 hours, that's a game changer. We did Portugal
Oh yeah.
this year. It was only 6 hours. It's not so big a deal. We did economy plus. We had plenty of leg room on TAP Air Portugal. But when you're flying 12 hours, you want a lie flat. So talk about how you've helped clients book everything from the lie flat seats to five-star getaways. What is one of your favorite recent summer redemptions other than the South Korea?
Sure. So basically, people come to me and they say, I have X number of points, like you have 200,000 American Express points, and I want to go to Madrid next April. Help me get there in business class. So, me and I have some staff who work for me. We do some searches on tools that we use, but we also kind of know in the background what are the general routes that have the best deals, the cheapest award redemptions for the fewest points. We give a whole bunch of options to our clients and say, hey, you can choose. And they option number two, inbound option number three. We help them go in and actually book it so that they end up spending, 150, $200 in taxes and then our fee, and they're saving $10,000 on business class flights. And it even gets to be cheaper than economy tickets. If you were just to take economy over to Madrid, it might be $800 a person in April. So you're saving at least half that by contracting through us, which I would say is a pretty good deal. And in terms of my
Yeah.
most recent, really exciting redemption, I had these Korean Air miles lying around for the past couple of years, which I know is silly to say, but in my kind of line of business, this is what you do. And I was saying to my wife, I have these miles. You want to go on a trip somewhere for a beach? Why don't we go to South Korea for the beach? Which is why we ended up with this Qatar Airways Q Suites thing on the way back for only 80,000 miles a person and I think $75 in taxes each. We got Korean Air first class all the way from Seoul to Boston, and it was an incredible ride.
That is an incredible deal. Amazing. And look, we know that not everybody has the huge point stash that you have or I have right now. What can people do if they have just small, modest balances and still want to travel well?
So modest balances requires patience and watching. So that's where you set alerts for things. There are certain services like Award Logic, Points. Yeah, the big one in the industry is called Point.me. If you want to do it yourself, you can subscribe for a few months. It might cost you, $50 or so. Set alerts for some of the flight routes you're looking at. And once the alerts come due, then you can swoop in and book those flights at the cheapest possible rate.
Brian, what's a website where people can connect? Oh, before I even do that, I just want to remind people, Brian's a travel expert. That's what he does for a living. He is a professional. People think that when they use a professional, they got to pay more. It's just the opposite. That the airlines and the hotels, they eat the difference. So you do not pay more when you use a travel expert. I've used travel experts 100,000 times in my life. You get the best deals. So you want somebody like Brian finding you the deal. So I just want to make sure people know that before we go. What's a website where people can connect with you or Award Magic to start turning their travel dreams into points powered plans?
Very straightforward. Awardmagic.com. There's a contact form, there's a booking form, there's all kinds of stuff. And if you're into it, I also post on Instagram fairly regularly, just at Award Magic, and you'll find my face just like this with this background talking about random travel things.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. Please come on again. We love having you on, and we love your tips. And I love that our theme today is sort of travel. We're talking about because we had the shoe policy changing, so we had our regular travel person on as well. But it's great to have you on, Brian Cohen, owner and CEO of Award Magic. It was wonderful having you. Have a great day.
Thanks. You too, Ken.
You bet. It is now 74 degrees in Trenton. It's 78 degrees at Newark, and our time is 8:16. We'll be back in 30 seconds. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings. Don't go away. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato at 8:17, 74 degrees in the middle part of the state, taking your calls at 888-658-0234. A little bit of patchy fog on some spots this morning, not a lot. Then mixed sun and clouds today. Could be a shower thunderstorm in the southern part of the state late in the afternoon. Highs around 90. Straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast. And Mike, in just a moment, we're going to be talking to somebody about a really cool event happening in Englewood. I'm looking for the name. I just had it in front of me here. It's you know how they have block parties all over the place. There's something called the Englewood Night Market. It's returning for its 5th year. We're going to talk all about it in just a moment. So what's the forecast looking like in the meantime?
Night markets are fun. Night markets look good on a night like tonight. Any of the rain should be across southern and central New Jersey. Northern New Jersey up toward Englewood looks great, especially later on this evening. As far as the afternoon highs, we'll make it back into the upper 80s at the beaches, even low 90s inland. It's going to be a hot day from Princeton and Trenton, even back toward there in Freehold. Lots of heat today. Heat index right now already 82 up in Hackensack, just a stone's throw from Englewood. 81 in Newark and 82 right now in Camden, going to a high of what will feel like 94 or 95 degrees. The forecast rainfall totals over the next few days don't look impressive overall, but there could be some downpours isolated that give some bigger rain amounts as we enjoy the clearing right now. Some of the clouds off to the west that arrive later today with these storms are again targeted for central and southern New Jersey. So enjoy the UV today. Need the sunscreen back up at a 10, which is very high, the highest part of the year. All year happens right now. And with all of the clear sky right now, just some clouds working their way across southern New Jersey. It's the clearing that occurs later on today. Beautiful weather for a night market with lower dew points and less humidity. But that comes back by tomorrow afternoon. The humidity returns throughout your Thursday evening as well as Friday, and it feels quite humid throughout central and southern New Jersey, even as we head into the weekend. Can't really get any relief from that as it is entering the dog days of summer. So going through this afternoon and this evening, you see the storms developing here across central and southern New Jersey, pushing their way out to sea by later on tonight. Once we get after 9 or 10 o'clock, could be some isolated showers in northern New Jersey, and that's really for tomorrow morning, leading to another round of heat and humidity and pop-up afternoon storms again statewide on your Thursday. So there's a better chance of storms tomorrow, but by Friday, I think we have another round of wet weather, again, isolated, patchy throughout the afternoon, clearing by Sunday, and then another quick shower by Saturday afternoon into Sunday, and we're overall looking good into next week, a very typical pattern with these on and off storms. So the weekend forecast looks quite dry. It's still humid, but pleasant. Mix of clouds and sun on Saturday, 86 degrees, and Sunday has highs that go to 87 degrees. Not terribly hot, but just where you'd expect it. Our average high is about 86 degrees, and we're basically there for Saturday, so great outdoor weather. If you have the outdoor plans, looking good this weekend, Ken.
All right, we've got the imprimatur from Mike. We appreciate you, sir. Thank you very much. It is 74 degrees in Trenton right now and 78 degrees at Newark. Let's take a look at this one traffic cam we have on the New Jersey Turnpike. This is a disabled vehicle on the Turnpike in a roadway southbound south of interchange 13A. This is the exit by Newark Liberty International, 1 and 9 in Elizabeth. You can see right there that one lane is blocked, so be careful as you go through. It's not really causing massive problems at all, but as they get emergency vehicles trying to remove that, you're going to see some issues. So just be aware of that. Again, that is the disabled vehicle Turnpike in a roadway southbound south of interchange 13A, which is the exit for Newark Airport. Other issues right now, we have roving repairs on 206 southbound from south of Atzian Lake Park entrance in Hamilton to Willow Grove Road in Chemung Township. The right lane is closed. The approaches to the Holland Tunnel right now looking pretty good. Actually, it's been 10 to 15 minutes across the Hudson all day long. It's 15 to 20 at the Lincoln now. And we look at the 8095 approach to the GWB, moving beautifully. It's only 15 minutes across on the GWB. Upper roadway on the right, empty. Lower roadway on the left, not so bad at all. It is officially block party season, and one of New Jersey's biggest summer traditions is back. The Englewood Night Market returns for its 5th year, Wednesday, July 16th. That's coming up, starting at 5 p.m., and it transforms East Palisade Avenue into a big celebration of food, music, and community. They're going to have live bands, local bites. You get to sample the restaurants, fun for everybody, and it's a free event. It draws thousands of people, and it grows each year. Joining us now is T.H. Irwin, who is the CEO of TH Experiences, to share what is in store this year. Good morning to you, T.H.
Good morning, Ken. Thank you for having me.
You bet. So tell us about the inception of the Englewood Night Market and what's the vibe like. Talk about it.
So I created this event back in 2012. I wanted to create a hyper-local experience that felt like you're in New York City, one of those huge festivals like Taste of Tribeca, but in my own backyard. I live close to New York City and I do travel in for those things, but wouldn't it be great for it to be right here in Bergen County? So what I did was I shut down East Palisade Avenue, which is the main artery of the city of Englewood, which is a large city just outside of Manhattan. And it was unlike anything that this area has seen. I brought business and community together. But what it means as far as an attendee, you have over 70 different foods to eat, to purchase. I have 2 stages with DJs, live music, bands, Latino soul, rock cover bands. I have School of Rock kids performing. So it all started back in 2012. And then obviously we took a break during COVID. And then a few years ago, I opened my own events production group, and Englewood Night Market is one of my signature experiences in this marketplace. And last year I refreshed it, and we had over 5,200 people there. So it was just phenomenal. And the sky looked like your background right now. It was awesome. It was awesome.
That's a good thing. And yes, in all fairness, this is fake, but you
It
you
looks
have a
good
real
though.
background. Thank you. Yeah, we blur it out to make it look like there's distance, but it's only like arm's length behind me. But hey, it's I always break the third wall when we do the show. I used to live in North Bergen. One of my best friends lives in Tenafly, so I know Englewood like the back of my hand. I love Englewood, and there are some phenomenal restaurants,
Yeah.
phenomenal restaurants in Englewood. I love the idea that they all come out, they give you a little taste. So all those times you passed that restaurant and thought, someday I got to go there. Isn't this the perfect opportunity to sample their foods? What do they charge? A few dollars, and you could get a tasting of something right on the street, and it's a good way to do
Yes.
it.
Yes, and actually this year we have 7 or 8 new restaurants in Englewood, and they're all participating. Everything, first of all, we are serving every palate. If you're a meat lover, if you're only coming for dessert, if you want kosher food, if you're a vegetarian, I mean, I've got something for everyone. Plus, I had produced an event called the Food Truck Mashup. So I've got my arsenal of quality food trucks. So Cousin's Maine Lobster will be there, Angry Archie's will be there, 1950s Originals. So I have food for everyone. You have fresh barbecue being smoked out in the street. So yes, for a smaller amount of money, you can come and try all the different foods, and that's the whole point. The end of the day, I want to showcase the local businesses and restaurants so that you will then go and eat there and know that you have a new place to go. How many times are you stumped in thinking, where am I going to go to eat tonight? I don't
Mhm.
even know what I want to eat. Well, I'm literally showcasing more than 90 different varieties of food next Wednesday night at the Englewood Night Market.
And the best part about that is if you're with your boyfriend, girlfriend, kids, whatever, and everybody wants something different, everybody can have something different. You could go to the food truck. You can get a hot dog over there. I'm going to get a steak over here. You want a smoothie over there. I used to live in Hollywood, Florida. Every Monday night in the middle of the town when the restaurants close, because a lot of restaurants close on Monday down there and here too,
Yeah.
they have in the middle of town there a food truck night, and they were getting 40 and 50, and now I understand they get up to 90 food trucks from all over South Florida. You literally can't choose. You look around, there's every facet of food. You name it, from halal to kosher to everything. Food trucks are it. It is so fun, and so many of them use food trucks to propel themselves into a brick and mortar. So it's nice to see them as they're making their way up. Tell us
Yeah.
about what is new and exciting and different this year, because I know each year you make this thing grow.
Well, first of all, I want to share that we won the prize for the best special town event from the Best of Bergen Awards. So this is really makes me very happy and proud because these are very established towns like East Rutherford and Ridgewood and Westwood in Bergen County. So the fact that the Englewood Night Market won that prize is huge. What's new this year is we have this amazing rock cover band playing called Side Hustle. We also have our outdoor bar. The bar is a full city block, and it's sponsored by MK Valencia. And I do have to give thanks to Town Motors. They have been in the city of Englewood for over 50 years, and they are one of our top sponsors. With Audi, Porsche, and Subaru, you can come and look at the hot cars. And we have tons of stuff for kids, tons of activities for kids between Little Gym, Kids Kingdom. We have misting stations this year because I know it's hot. I always get a hot day, but hopefully Mike has the weather gods looking out for me next week also. And I do want to say that we have a bunch of local nonprofits participating. I always invite nonprofits to come out to share what they do, the resources they provide, and an opportunity to get funding.
Hey, this is fun. You should have us come broadcast from there sometime. That would be fun too. We'd
You
love to
are
do that.
coming to broadcast.
Oh, we see that.
You are.
I
Lisa
should
will
check
be
the
there.
calendar.
Yes.
I should check the
Yes.
calendar
Lisa
next
will
time
be
before I
there.
speak. That's
That's
good.
okay. It's
That's a
all
good
good. We're
thing.
on the same page. I'm happy to say that she's coming. And the city of
Awesome. And
Englewood has been a great partner all these years. And we've already scheduled next year, which is aligned with the World Cup.
I love it. I love it. You get all the FIFA folks. And this is
Yes.
family friendly too, right? The nice thing, you talk about the bar, which by the way, did you have to get dispensation in order to have people drink outside? How did that work out?
I just asked for it. And I
See,
just,
ask and you'll get.
listen, if you want to make it happen, you have to make it happen in the right way. And so MK Valencia is an area restaurant. They are looking to come into the city of Englewood, but they're based in Ridgefield Park and they want to run the bar. So the bar, they're going to have their signature margaritas, their signature sangrias, plus you have a bunch of spiked seltzers and certainly beer. So a
I
whole
love it.
city block where you can drink and eat. And on average, people spend 2 to 3 hours there dancing in the streets. I have DJs on both blocks. I have School of Rock kids performing. It's a New York City level event in Englewood, New Jersey next week.
And by the way, I promise you, because I used to live on the Belleville-Nutley border, and we used to have like night out parties and stuff. You'll meet neighbors you have never met before and
Right?
realize they live 3 doors down and you've never talked to them. And you're going to make new friends at an event like this that you never realize. It is a fun thing to do. I'm so happy you're doing it. What's a website where people can find the full schedule or plan their visit?
For menus, music, and more, just go to Englewood Night Market, ENGLEWOOD, night with a GHT on it, market.com. And all the menus are there. The schedule of performances is there. Everything can be found right there.
I love it. The Englewood Night Market. It's next Wednesday, July 16th, starting at 5 p.m. on East Palisade Avenue in Englewood. T.H. Irwin, CEO of T.H. Experiences, and our friend. Have a blast next week. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We'll talk to you after the event. I want to see all the fun stuff.
Thank you so much, Ken. And I hope everybody comes. It's going to be great.
I'm going to have to make a little detour. I'm not that far away. I'm about 20 minutes away. I will make a detour to come. So that'll be a fun night.
Perfect.
Thank you so much.
Great.
You bet, TH. All right, my friend. Have a good one. Thanks for coming on
You
today.
too.
And when we come back, Facebook wants access to your phone's camera roll. Will you grant it? Brand and digital strategist Fisher joins us with advice. And the phone lines are open, 888-658-0234. We will be right back.
Hi, I'm Jeanette Hoffman, host of Energy Matters. Join me every night at 6 p.m. where we're discussing energy affordability, challenges, and solutions with stakeholders and elected officials. Join me weekdays at 6 p.m. on Energy Matters on ONNJ.
Good morning. It is Wednesday, July 9th, 2025, 74 degrees in the middle of the state, 8:32. I'm Ken Rosato. Welcome back to ONNJ Jersey Mornings. Areas of fog this morning, mixed sun and clouds today. Maybe a late day shower, a thunder boomer down in the southern part of the state. Highs around 90. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with a detailed Garden State forecast. Howdy do, Mike.
Hey there. So we had tornado warnings come through central New Jersey last night. Nothing confirmed. There was just rotation on radar. The similar setup occurring this evening, not as severe, but again, the storms are limited to the extreme southern part of the state. So while there still could be some storms rolling through this evening, the worst of the flooding potential and the severe winds will primarily be south of 195 and certainly south of the Atlantic City Expressway. Early this morning, have plenty of sun across New Jersey, just a few passing clouds across central and southern areas of the state. And with that, we warm up quickly into the upper 80s. We're already sitting in the low 80s. So 90 is your high toward Egg Harbor City, 90 in Hamilton, and even for you in Millville, 90 degrees there. The heat index not reaching 95 or higher, which is why there's no heat advisory today, but still with plenty of heat and humidity around. It'll feel warm we'll get up to what will feel like the mid 90s today, maybe up to 94. And then tomorrow, with some extra clouds, probably the mid 90s again. Friday, I think we could be reaching the 96-degree mark, feeling like it over in Newark, 97 in Mount Holly. So the heat index is going to be real going into this weekend, with another round of heat and humidity coming in just in time for the upcoming weekend. But again, I think we're dry to start off the weekend with a pleasant feel as our high climbs to the mid 90s, about 10 degrees cooler than the record. So with all of the clear sky around right now, it's a warm start to the day, and it's a great day to head toward the beaches. Notice the Atlantic City water temperature of 65 degrees had a little bit of upwelling there when the cooler water replaces the warmer water as the wind blows off that top layer of warm water. 8:19, your high tide in Cape May just occurred, so enjoying a pleasant beach day there with a 76-degree water temperature and 77-degree water temperature in Sandy Hook. As far as the afternoon, plan on another warm day, but again, with the rip current risk at a moderate level, it's still important to swim in the lifeguarded zones because there's just enough of a breeze to allow for those rip currents to form. So on the scale of 1 to 5, the yellow area here is a level 2 for the severe outlook, a slight risk of severe weather in areas south of Toms River. Same with the wind criteria of those 58-mile-per-hour gusts, certainly possible later on today as those storms get going. Northern sections of the state may not even see any rain during the daylight hours today, so we're staying pretty dry. Now tomorrow, better chance of seeing those storms in the morning in northern New Jersey. Then as the front pushes in, it kind of meanders across the state, and that's what gives us our unsettled weather, but still hot for Friday. And then Saturday clears out nicely, same for Sunday as the front sweeps on through. Does it cool off? A little bit, but the humidity remains, at least going into the beginning of the weekend, with an 84-degree high. May not look that bad, but it'll feel humid throughout Saturday and Sunday. Monday and Tuesday of next week, back in the low 90s. It's going to be hot yet again to start off next week, as our forecast for the next 2 weeks looks to be slightly above average in terms of temperatures, even for the shore points, with highs climbing to 86 on Friday and 86 degrees as well on Saturday. Plenty of sun this weekend down the shore. Great weather. Maybe you'd even take the 3-day weekend through Monday, mostly sunny skies. So a nice way to kick off our next sunny weekend here in New Jersey. We like it when it's not raining, so that's some good news there.
Yeah, and you heard, by the way, the order from TH in the last report.
I
She asked,
did.
that's yeah. So now Wednesday, you have to ask Mother Nature that in Englewood, Wednesday evening is perfect. Okay,
Because
not
what's a
too hot, not
summer
too cold.
street fair when you're not sweating all over the powdered sugar and the Zeppeli that are, trying to keep yourself clean? It's just all part of the fun, right?
I'm just saying, and street fairs like that are awesome. I'm so glad
Yeah.
she's doing that because that's really what brings a community together. People who roll their eyes to it, you go to that event, you'll be there all night. You'll have a great time. They are fun. So absolutely. All right, Mike. Thank you very much, sir. It is 74 degrees right now, and what we have in terms of traffic, if we take a look at mile marker 150.8 north of the Essex Toll Plaza on the Garden State Parkway, things are moving, but you see volume starting to build, and that possibly is because just a few miles up from where those folks are headed right now, there's a crash on the Garden State Parkway, and that's by exit 160 Paramus Road, and the left lane is blocked. So these cars are headed right for that right now. So they might have a little brake check as they pass that area. Disabled vehicle on the New Jersey Turnpike in a roadway by exit 13A Newark Airport has just been cleared. So that area is moving just fine. Little volume, but not bad at all. The approaches to the Hudson River right now, we're told 10 minutes at the Holland Tunnel. It's 15 minutes at the Lincoln. 8095 approach to the GWB moving just perfectly. Look at that. Upper level on the right is empty. Lower level on the left, not bad at all. So get into Manhattan now. This is your big chance. Facebook asking users for access to their phone's camera roll to automatically suggest AI edited versions of their photos, including ones that haven't even been uploaded to Facebook yet. President Trump told Fox News that he has a group of wealthy people looking to buy TikTok, and Tesla says it has notched an historic first, making a driverless delivery of a new car recently to a customer in Austin, Texas. To weigh in on these topics this morning is brand and digital strategist Fisher, who could be found on X, Threads, and Instagram with username @Fisher and through his website, fisher.media. Good morning, Fisher.
Good morning, Ken. How are you?
Good, sir. So Facebook wants access to our camera rolls on our
Yes, sir.
phones. Should that be granted ever? And what happens if we don't?
Well, let's talk about the feature. And a lot of what I'm about to say sounds familiar because you already get a lot of this in Instagram when you're uploading photos. They're testing a feature that uses Meta AI to suggest creative edits, like collages or AI restylings for photos in your camera roll. The key here is even those not shared. Now, when creating a story, a pop-up is going to ask you, do you want to allow cloud processing to enable AI-driven suggestions based on unshared photos? By opting in, you're going to permit Facebook, Meta, to upload camera roll photos to its servers on an ongoing basis. So you're taking a photo in front of Starbucks, you're in your car, you're doing a selfie on vacation, whatever it is, it will upload it at that point using details like time, location, or even themes. It notices backgrounds of a city or country or cows or whatever. Meta claims these suggestions are private, only visible to you unless you share them, and they're not used for ad targeting. By agreeing to these terms, though, it allows analysis of your photos, including facial features and objects, to generate personalized content and, again, to edit the photos. Meta states in this test, this is an interesting caveat, in this test, camera roll photos are not used to improve AI models, only to enhance suggestions. Again, once the test goes away, they might start using the photos to enhance Meta AI. You can disable the feature in Facebook settings under camera roll sharing suggestions by toggling off cloud processing. That's what the, on the screen right now, that's what the pop-up will look like when this begins to roll out. Again, this feature is only available to certain users in the United States and Canada. Not all users will see these pop-ups. But again, the important part, and I think, Ken, we all do this, right? So you agree to something. Most of us don't even read the permissions. So in this case, you would agree to allow Facebook to start processing your camera roll. You agree to it. You're under the understanding that they're not using it for any AI modeling or anything of that sort. And then 6 months from now, they send an updated privacy policy. If you want to keep using this feature, allow. If you don't, decline. Most of us just, I think 99.9% of us will just hit allow, and then other things could happen to your photos. I don't know what those are. I'm not saying that Meta is going to do it. Just prior usage of life and technology, that eventually things just begin to start getting used, like I said, for AI modeling and things of that sort. There are some beta users that have reported unexpected AI edits to photos that have not been uploaded yet. So, the possibilities out there. Now, this beta is probably testing AI, Meta AI servers, the functionality, flushing out any bugs, things of that sort. So it'll be a couple of months, but they're trying to engage users again. Facebook has seen a 40% drop in teen users between 2014 and 2022, and that's significant for Facebook. And obviously, these features will eventually be rolled out to Instagram and WhatsApp and any other Meta product.
All right. And the president now may have some wealthy investors who want to buy TikTok?
Absolutely. I mean, we've gone through this, right? From the time that he was inaugurated, it was a 90-day bump to the ban. That took us to April. Then we got 45 days. That took us to the end of June. Now we're bumping again for another 45 days. But President Trump says that he feels confident that we will have a U.S. version of the TikTok app. But again, at the core of this is the TikTok timeline, the functionality, what makes TikTok TikTok. So when the United States version, if it does come out, rolls out, will it have the same functionality that you're used to in your current version of TikTok? And that's, that will depend on what China allows the algorithm to be shared with this new version, because that is kind of the secret sauce of TikTok.
And Tesla also has done creepy a new level.
Yeah.
A car
I love
delivered
it.
to a buyer, and you love it. I think it's creepy.
I
You see
love
a
it.
car drive up on its own entirely with a driver as somebody bought their new Tesla. Talk about that.
Well, remember, and this is a side note, that they're already testing Waymo and Tesla's auto pilot pickup, basically, in cities all over. They have them here in Atlanta. They have them in New York City. They're beginning testing in New York City. They're doing it in cities all over. And Austin is one of them. And so, yes, Tesla has a factory in Austin, and they delivered a Model Y SUV to a customer completely autonomous. The car left the factory and drove to the driveway of the customer all the way. They did have a trailing team to see and analyze and everything, but nobody was in the car. Nobody was remote controlling it. The car drove itself itself, fully autonomous, no human beings. And it was just a normal production model, so it was nothing special. The 30-minute journey reached a maximum speed of 72 miles an hour. And Tesla did share a video of it on X, driving driverless, and you could see it if you go to at Tesla on X. And and it was not a special. They say it wasn't a special customer or somebody who paid a lot of money. It was just a randomly chosen customer who ordered a Model Y in the Austin area. So.
That's amazing. Well, and that's
Hey,
where the
you can
future is going to be.
order a car from Carvana, like from
Right.
a tower of cars. So I mean, and get it delivered to you. So this is just really the next step. But again, you could take an Uber. They partner with Waymo, and Tesla is offering their own ride sharing offering, and you will get in the back of a car and not have a driver, and that will drop you off wherever you need to go. So it's the future, and it's here.
Hey, listen, I have a horse upstairs. That's how I
Yes, you
get from place to place. And someday we're going to
yes.
get electricity in the house. But the good news is my running water pump outside still works as long as you crank it really
I
fast.
The
Brand
neighbors don't like the outhouse.
No. Thank you for that. Brand
They
and
asked me to
digital
talk about it.
strategist Fisher. Yes. Brand and digital strategist Fisher, found on X, Threads, and Instagram with the username at Fisher and through his website, fisher.media. Thank you, sir, for coming on as
Have a
always.
good day.
You too. It is 74 degrees at 8:45. In just a moment, we're going to talk to a proud Jersey girl and author about her experiences with love on the road. Areas of fog this morning, mixed sun and clouds today. Maybe a storm down in the southern part of the state late in the day. Highs about 90. Meteorologist Mike Favetta will be back too with the full Garden State forecast. 888-658-0234 if you'd like to call in. You're watching ONNJ Jersey Mornings. Don't go away. Welcome back to ONNJ Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, 8:45, taking calls at 888-658-0234. It is 74 degrees, areas of fog in some parts this morning. Otherwise, mixed sun and clouds today. Could be a shower or thunderstorm late in the day in the southern part of the state. Otherwise, nobody else gets that. Highs around 90. Straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. Just another summer day in New Jersey. Feeling pretty
Okay.
typical. You got to stay in the AC or head down the shore to stay cool. It's going to be a hot one. Humidity high through this afternoon, helping to bring back the storms in southern New Jersey, but northern parts of the state, like in Hackensack, Newark, Jersey City, your typical summertime heat getting to 90. No threat of storms here, however, until we get into really the overnight and early tomorrow morning. And while it says foggy up towards Sussex, Newton, and Hackettstown, that's really the haze that'll reduce visibility by the end of the day. The air quality okay right now, but like in past days, as the sun rises and works on that atmospheric pollutant, gets a little bit worse with the ozone developing from Ship Bottom toward Cape May. You see those numbers approach 100. So we could have numbers that get to around 100 today, and that's the moderate level of air quality, just one tick higher than good. As far as the next few weeks going into the middle of July, New Jersey expected to see slightly warmer than average temperatures as compared to the rest of the country, even with a slightly higher than average rainfall, like a little bit, one tick on the notch. But beyond that, it's going to be pretty typical. Your average summertime heat through the rest of the week. A chance of an afternoon storm today in southern New Jersey. Tomorrow, the storms are more widespread. And then Friday, could see a pop-up storm as well. I think Saturday is pretty dry, maybe some extra clouds, but otherwise sunny and warm. Humidity sticks around, and there's also the chance of storms for Sunday evening and Monday as well. Nothing expected to be severe, just your average run-of-the-mill storms going into the end of the next week. As far as Thursday and Friday down the shore, we clear out for Saturday. Lots of sunshine returning for this weekend, and that sun sticks around into early next week with highs in the upper 80s. So beautiful weather around, looking very pleasant into the start of next week, and feeling just like summer should, to let all of the gardens grow and everyone enjoy a very, very summery feel here in the state.
Very good, Mike. Enjoy your day, sir, and thank you very
You too.
much. It is 74 degrees in Trenton. Love saying Trenton because people from like Iowa say Trenton. We don't say that here. We say can. It is now 8:48. In terms of traffic, we do have this crash causing this. It's mile marker 160.4 Bergen Toll Plaza on the Garden State Parkway. Just beyond that, there is a crash reported. It's on the Garden State northbound north of exit 160, Paramus Road, and it is blocking the left lane, and that is causing the delay you see into the toll plaza and just beyond. So just be aware of that if you're headed northbound on the Garden State Parkway. Once you pass that point, it's moving okay, just volume. And we also have a disabled vehicle that has been just cleared on the Jersey Turnpike inner roadway at 13A. Things are moving well through there. The approaches to the Hudson River right now, it's only 10 minutes to cross over at the Holland, 10 to 15 at the Lincoln, and 15 minutes, really good, at the GWB 8095 approach. Take a look at how things are flowing. That's Pam, how rare is that, right? That approach is empty. Yeah, Pam just said, where the hell is everybody? Oh, she didn't say hell. I added that. But where is everybody is right. Upper level on the right, lower level to the left. That's a good thing if you want to make your way into the city right now. 8:49, Erica Goodwin is a proud Jersey girl who knows a thing or two about life on the road. She's an indie author whose new novel, Love on the Road, draws inspiration from her own experiences touring and the sometimes messy, often magical parts of love that can unfold when you're constantly on the move. Erica joins us now to talk about her debut, her Jersey roots, and the personal journey, I can't speak, I'm sorry, Erica, that inspired this heartfelt romance. First off, welcome to the show. Good to have you on today.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
You're a Jersey girl through and through. How has growing up in the Garden State helped shape you as a writer and inspired love on the road?
Oh gosh, I mean, I love New Jersey. My roots will never leave me. I did always, though, want to work in music. So I ended up in Los Angeles, which is how I got my first job working on a tour for an artist. And it kind of just dominoed. And then one day I was sitting on the couch and my favorite movie, Notting I was watching it and I was like, God, I just love this celebrity falling in love with your everyday person like myself. And that's kind of where my experience mixed with that trope, was born.
That's so cool. And your book draws heavily from your own time touring, as you mentioned here. Can you talk a little bit about how that lifestyle influenced the character in the book of Olivia Jade?
Yes, Olivia is very much based on me, my past experiences from my own relationships, as well as the touring experience. There's a lot of, if you read it, it's heavily, you can see the details of being on a tour bus and living in arenas around the country and around the globe. I've done, I think, every single continent except Asia. And I really pull from the details of your relationships with the artists themselves, as well as the people that you live with that go from complete strangers one minute to your family the next, because you spend 24/7 with them and they see you at your highs and your lows all in one shot.
Now, this was important to you, right? To center a queer love story in this kind of high pressure, high profile setting. I'm a gay man married to a guy, so it's people who think that relationships are hard. Try cutting your chances of finding somebody into 1/10 or 1/20th of the population. Good luck with that. So, why was it so important to have the character, right? I mean, it's true, and I think it's
Yes.
even harder for women. I think it's harder for women because with guys, sometimes we can detect who's who, but I think with women, it's harder to detect who's who. So talk about that.
A little bit, yes. I think there is this with women, you could call them femmes, that it is harder to, I think, see if they are queer or not. But this story was just very important to me. I got married to my wife almost 2 years ago, and I just feel like the queer content out there right now is far and few between. And I know when I was growing up and was going through figuring out my own sexuality, there wasn't much to relate to. And I think that was something for me that this story even brought more to, because I want it definitely is not for anyone under 18 years old, but for anyone struggling in that area, I want them to be able to relate and have something to look at and be like, oh, that is what I want and that is what I love.
Mhm.
And so I think that was a very important thing.
And I think for people who think don't automatically think, oh, you have to be gay or lesbian to like this. It's about relationships. It's about finding somebody you care about who cares about you. So that's they just open up, go beyond the, open your mind and go beyond the idea that, oh, these two people are gay. No, this is about finding love in a world of 6-7 billion
Mhm.
people. And that's the beautiful part about that. There's such a strong thread of vulnerability and self-discovery among these characters. So how did you balance the idea of romance with each woman's personal evolution?
I think it was easy for me to do Olivia because it was based on me. And then Peyton was a little bit more so later in life. And I kind of oddly had a mix of the two. I didn't come out until I was 27 years old. So that's kind of where Peyton came about. She was a later in life. She had a boyfriend for a long time and living in the pressures of the world, she never even realized that maybe there was something else out there or someone else out there for her. And I think there are a lot of men and women who don't figure things out until later in life because, maybe something had sparked or they met someone or whatever it might be. And so that's kind of where I drew from that part of myself as well for Peyton. And then I have a lot of stories from friends that I've met since living in LA. There's obviously a very queer community here. And I've just kind of pulled from all my friends' stories as well to kind of combine and round out all the stories.
Well, it's a good thing. And by the way, congratulations on your marriage. That's a
Thank
wonderful
you.
thing. And yeah, it's so hard to find that person. And then when you find them and you settle down and you make it a life, it's such a beautiful thing. What has been the response so far from readers or even your friends from your touring life?
I mean, the response for the book personally has been great. The touring life it, I had different responses. Some people said I was absolutely insane for living out of a suitcase for, I think the longest I was gone was almost 3 months. And so they thought I was completely crazy for living in a very small bunk bed for most of my life. I was on the road for, oh my gosh, almost 8 years, I think, 9 years, something like that. And I definitely had friends that were like, okay, I think that's enough. You got your experience. Come home. We miss you. And then my family was definitely taking advantage. My parents met me in Paris one time. I saw them when I was in New York. Like I got to bring people on. My wife met me when we were in the UK, and that's actually where she proposed. So, I
Oh,
got to bring people along with me as well on the journey, which was cool.
it's awesome. See, that's a love story. That's a great proposal. My husband and I, we proposed in the middle of an argument.
Oh my gosh.
We'll talk about it off air. That's I was like, so what? So what? You're telling me you want to get married? Yeah, sure. All right, we'll get married. That's literally how it happened. And 26 and a half years later, we're together. That's no joke. That
I
really did
love
happen.
that.
But I'm
Congratulations.
Italian. I'm Italian, so that to me is normal. It is what it is. Thank you, though. As an indie author, what is something that you've learned through the process of putting your first book out in the world? Because that's a very personal thing and makes you very vulnerable to other people. So what was that like?
It was really scary. I did originally send it out to some agents to see kind of could I get a publishing deal? Could I not? And after a couple months, it wasn't even about that for me. It was about getting the story out. I wanted people to read it. I was just so excited about it. And I truly was just like, you know what? What the hell? Like, I'm just going to put it out myself. And, there are plenty of things in the world right now. I'm on Amazon KDP. And so I was able to self publish. And
All
it
right, well,
was very
I'm gonna cut
scary.
you off. I'm gonna cut you off really fast because we're
Yeah,
like just out of time. Before we go, what's your website? Really fast, Erica.
ericagoodwin.com.
All right, I didn't mean to do that, but literally the show
No, you're
ends and
good.
they cut us right off. You are
No,
awesome. The book is called Love on the Road. Author Erica Goodwin. Thank you for joining us this morning. Come
thank you
back
so
again,
much.
please. You
Thank you.
bet.
I
Great to
will.
have you on. Have a great day. It is now. What a cool story. 74 degrees right now. Meteorologist Mike Favetta says some fog this morning, mixed sun and clouds today. Highs about 90. That is on New Jersey Mornings for your Wednesday, July 9th, 2025. I'm Ken Rosato. Remember, you could stream us at ONNJ.com, Roku, Fire TV, News on Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, YouTube, Facebook, and X. We also stream live at Rumble and Twitch. Go to twitch.tv/on New Jersey. Catch you again tomorrow morning at 7. Tell all your friends about us. Till then, have a wonderful day. Bye-bye, folks.